have an us versus them dichotomy.
So
it's progress for who then? Is that?
I think about this in terms of the poverty cycle. The rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. And the poor get poorer because they're stuck in their rut and they give birth to children and the children are brought up in the same environment. And unless something magical happens, they will continue to be in that environment and stuck in that cycle, that endless cycle. The same thing happens when I'm stuck in an endless life of upgrades, whether that has to do with computing, whether that has to do with any particular application that I might buy into. And so those people who are building the applications, who know the interworkings of the applications they're building and understand how the infrastructure works, are more empowered by those people that are allegedly adopting voluntarily the products that are being sold to them. You know, a lot of my students, for example, and I found this out early on, would work a whole week to pay for their mobile phones in the early days. And I used to ask my students, why are you so tired coming into my lecture theatre? And they'd be like this, thinking, you mean you've worked all week to pay off your mobile phone? Because the billing was quite substantial back then. There was something wrong about this model. I told them, I'd rather you not have a laptop for your honours project. I'd rather you not buy into your smartphone and come to my class awake so you can learn something new, or at least participate in the dialogue and provide an opinion for me with the rest of the class and share it. So it's almost like we're stuck in a cycle that's not called the poverty cycle. I don't know what you want to call it. The enslaved cycle of ICT. I don't know what you want to call it. But I've got to have this and I've got to have that and I've got to have the next thing. And if I don't, become a member of Facebook and I don't start geotagging and I don't have this, I miss out. The opportunity cost is too great. However, what are the trade-offs here? I'm more worried about status updates on Facebook than I am about living my life. And this is the problem. I forget about living. I'm just doing what is expected to be done, replying to that email, replying to that Facebook wall post.
And in the meantime, those relatively small group of people or companies, whatever you want to call them, are further closing in on their control of people as they go about taking on those technological advancements, those developments.
So, of course, service providers become more and more empowered with more personal data they gather. What you don't want is churn. Churn is when an individual user goes from one application to another. You want your user to be presented with stickiness drivers. This is the technical term in customer relationship management, so that your user, your customer, comes back to your portal, interacts some more, gives away more. This is the whole business model of customer relationship management. Provide enough stickiness drivers, they come back and they provide more, they disclose more. And how can we capitalise on this social ensemble, on this information disclosure? What can we do? Okay, let's analyse it then. Let's analyse what they're talking about. Let's analyse what they feel about brand X or Y. And if they feel badly about brand X, let's employ the right strategies to counter that feeling. So are we being manipulated? Of course we are. And by the very data we disclose. This is the problem. We don't realise we're at the beginning and end of that cycle. We provide the information, someone analyses it, and it's fed back to us, and we eat it. So we might not think we're being manipulated, but in actual fact, the whole idea of customer relationship management is about this cycle. It's about a stickiness driver and preventing churn. How Facebook, for example, can have more users than G+. But these guys are not silly. I mean, at the highest level, organisations that have the largest market share, if brought together in kind of a sharing and merging relationship, imagine, for example, Facebook, Google, and a number of other organisations like Twitter decide to share their user data and they profile individuals, they bring together IDs, and we're already using application APIs, for example, to allow us to share IDs and link IDs up between different applications, whether it's YouTube, Twitter and Facebook.